Hello and welcome to another AIC video. Today we have another P14s Gen 2. I've had a couple of these. I had a P14s Gen 2 with the AMD processor, with the Intel processor and the NVIDIA graphics. I recently sold that actually to my mother. She needed a new laptop and really liked it, so she paid me for it. I also had an AMD one that I picked up for my wife, and I did a comparison of those two a while back. This actually happens to belong to a friend of mine, and he has given it to me, or lent it to me, asked me to fix it. So unfortunately, it took a little bit of a tumble. You can see a dented corner here. We open it up. It's got a little bit of a break here. And if we power it on, we can see that the screen is broken. And so I have over here a replacement screen. And so we're gonna go ahead and replace that. I did go ahead and just reinstall Windows 10 on here just to wipe any personal data off. I ran performance benchmark on here just because we're also going to go ahead and repaste it and do some other maintenance on it as long as we're going to have it open, and compare the results of that performance test, the before and after. So let's go ahead and shut this down. We're going to restart it. Oop, if we can. There we go. We're going to go into the BIOS and disable the battery first. That's just a temporary disable. Hopefully we can do it with this screen. It makes it kind of hard. We may have to just open it up and disconnect the battery. F1, I think. Oh, yeah, we may have to just unplug the battery because I can't see anything. I think the thing I need to go down to is down here. Go to configure. Oh, there's power. Disable battery. Oh. Yes. So am I on yes? Yes. Okay. So now the battery has been disabled. I'm glad I was able to do that through the screen. And so removing the screen bezel is a bit tricky. It's kind of already half done for us because of the drop, but there is clips all the way around and then an adhesive. Now we're not going to be replacing the adhesive on this because that's expensive and I don't want to. So we're going to remove it as carefully as we can. I need like 1,000 more of these. They're a fairly soft plastic, so they don't scratch stuff up, but that means they don't last very long. All right. I'm not too worried about the screen we're pulling out because it's already broken, but I am worried about breaking this bezel because bezel isn't necessarily cheap. Let's go ahead and open this up and see if we have more picks in there. All right, we opened up the box and it actually did come with some new tools, and it came with adhesive strips. I don't know if these are the right strips that we need. We'll check that. The last screen I bought didn't come with these, so that's nice. So let's go ahead and we'll get out a new pick. There's two in here. This one's a lot thinner than this one, so this is the better pick for getting around that screen, getting it out. All right, so we got it. I had to move the camera so I could work around it a little easier, but basically I just fed this pick in from the top and pushed very carefully until I broke past, and then it just comes around. Now, as you do this, you want to make sure that you are pulling back this bezel gently, because, and you want to make sure you've undone the clips along the side, because if you push and you hit a clip that hasn't been undone, it will break the clip. And then your bezel won't go back in place. We won't do the bottom just yet because that you need to lay the screen flat to get that done properly. And we pull it back, almost like a knife through butter. Once you kind of get it going, it's a lot easier to get it off. Now comes the tricky part, because these have really thin strips of adhesive around it. The bottom has a really thick piece of adhesive. Now, it's kind of hard to see, so I'll lift this up a little bit. And I made a bit of a boo-boo. I shouldn't say boo-boo, but there's a black plastic cover that I tried to get off, and I missed it. And so that covers up the controller for the LCD panel. And I need to now get that separated from the bezel. So it starts right here. You may be tempted to come in here with something sharp to cut that. Don't. You will absolutely destroy your bezel and just have to get a new one. And then that lifts out, and then we can remove this adhesive that's here. Anyways, put that out of the way. And here is the old broken screen. And it's just held in by the bezel and some clips. So it should just come right out. Let me adjust the camera again. Oh, you know what it is? It's these pull strips right here. That's right. There's one that broke, and here's a second one. See if I can grab that. To grab some pliers or something. I'll be right back. All right, I don't really like using pliers because the sharp edge can cause this to rip prematurely, but I'm gonna go slow. You can pull just enough to where I can grab it with my fingers. And that's all we got out of there. Fairly short piece. Now, I think there's one more here. There it is. There we go. So it's a 3. All right, now the important thing with this is this connector here. This is a touchscreen model, and so I had to make sure of that before I ordered the screen, because this could either be a 30 pin or a 40 pin, and the touchscreen model and the higher resolution model are 40 pins, and the normal 1080 non-touch is 30 pin. So if you're doing this and you're not 100% sure, I would go ahead and actually take the old screen out first and see before you buy a screen, because you can't really return them after you bought them if you've opened them up. And in fact, the company I bought this from emailed me just to verify that I knew I was getting first. All right, come on. Oh, that's not what I wanted. All right, and then we pry up on this, and then that comes out. If we look on here, it's really hard to see. Flip this the right way up now. But it actually has a little number 40 right there. It has a 1 on this side and a 40 on this side. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. You can see the 40 right there, just barely. So that's how you can tell you're buying the right screen. And you want to search for, 14-inch 40 pin. I'll put a link to this screen in the description down below. All right, while I'm installing it, this has some styrofoam on it. So we're going to leave the styrofoam on there just to protect the screen. It also has a screen protector as well. And then we're going to plug this in, and then the clip folds. Make sure it's in all the way, and then the clip folds down. It's a bit fiddly if you have big hands like I do. Now, the adhesive strips, what we're going to do is we're going to put them along the backside like this. So we're going to cut the length off. So this blue tab is where it's going to get pulled from, and we're going to have that just hang over the top edge a touch, but as you can see, they're too long. So we're going to cut them so that way they don't hang over. All right, so we've cut them. Now what we're going to do is we're going to adhere them to the case back first. It's got a stickiness there. And then we're going to use this metal strip right here as our guide. It's going to hang up above the top there, and then it'll come off. There we go. So when somebody comes along and they want to remove it, they can pull from that tab on the top. Again, we're going to line it up just right up here. All right. There's that. And then the screen is going to rest here on the bottom. I'm going to tilt it into place. And remove screen film from corner. Do not push too hard. If you push too hard, you will cause yourself bright spots. Ask me how I know. Clean. All right, so now what we're going to do is I have a couple of scraps of this left over, and we're going to put it on the screen bezel down here in the corners. And we have two more pieces now that we're going to put in the center. It's not going to go all the way across, but we don't have a piece that will go all the way across. But it should be sufficient in keeping the bezel from flopping around down on the bottom. Now it won't be as tight before, there'll be a slight gap because this is just thicker than the adhesive we were removing, but I'd rather have that little bit of a gap than have a loose bezel. Now you can buy an adhesive kit for this, but it was almost as much money as the stinking screen was, so I didn't bother with that. That's where it is. All right. So we have to let's get the trash out of the way. And some of these tools. To get the bezel back on, you kind of have to feed it and clip it in here first. That way the bottom goes into place correctly. Otherwise it won't be flush on the bottom. Then you clip it into place around the bezel. Flip this around and get this side. Sorry, I keep hitting the tripod. Come on, get in there. I got it. Yeah. Now we're just gonna push along the bottom there and go around and clip in the top. And I'm not looking for perfection, just functionality, because once again, this has been dropped and already dinged and banged up. We just want something that works. All right, lid closes. We'll have to get in here. Get these clipped in. So these clips, you just need something that you can put a little pressure on, clip them into place. Alrighty. Now we need to go ahead and plug it in and turn on and make sure that that screen works, that it was worth the effort. Beautiful. That is a nice, clear, not broken screen. We're going to let it boot up and we're going to shut it down again and disable the battery. Make sure the touchscreen works. Yep, touchscreen works, it looks like. Now, I'm not much of a touchscreen person, but restart. I love this screwdriver. I've had it for quite some time now, but I use the crap out of it. I'll put a link to it in the description as well if you're looking for a good screwdriver set that's inexpensive but has a complete set of tips. This is where the pick comes in handy again. And we just go along the bottom. I always start at the back because of the clips in the front. I don't think that screw's done. No, it's all the way off. This one. Yeah, okay. Right here, it likes to get hung up. You can, it flexes around here, but it's not enough pressure to get the vents undone. And then again right here. These are no good, I always break them. Let's go from the other side first. See if we can get it the rest of the way off this side. Come on. Really doesn't want to come undone at this point. Tell that this hasn't been opened before because usually that clip is broken and so it's easy to get off. Just a second. All right, I just had to get a better angle on it that wasn't around a camera to get that undone. You can see it's a little dusty there, not too bad. That's pretty dusty, but I don't see too much dust on the fins. Look at my little vacuum out here. Let's go ahead, take a look at this CPU. So unplug the fan. Make sure all those are loose. One thing I like about the AMD version of this, I believe the Intel one, this is soldered, but the AMD one still has a replaceable Wi-Fi chip. I've recently upgraded my house to Wi-Fi 7, so this might be something, if this was mine, that I'd upgrade for my own personal use to have Wi-Fi 7 capabilities. That's really, really on there. Come on. There we go. That is some crusty stuff. So let's go ahead. I'm going to clean this up. I have Noctua NT-H1 I'm going to replace that with, and then we're going to run a benchmark and do a comparison. So we'll be back in a few minutes, seconds for you. All right, we got it back together and we did a benchmark here. And we didn't get much of improvement, at least not as much as I was expecting with the new thermal paste. I'm wondering if the springs for the CPU cooler need to be like bent back a little bit or whatever. It didn't feel like it was putting much pressure on the CPU. I've always questioned those types of retainers for being able to give enough pressure on there, but CPU nearly identical, 1675 after versus 429 before. 2D mark doesn't really matter. 3D mark was a little higher before versus after. Memory mark a little higher before, but disk mark was a little bit higher afterwards. So not a huge improvement, but one thing it definitely is a lot quieter. The fan is nearly silent unless I'm running a benchmark, and even then it's still really, really quiet. If you'd like to see me do anything more with this, let me know. I'm going to have it for a little while before I see that friend again. They don't live locally, so they've been meaning to get this to me for like 3 months now. So finally got it from them, got that screen fixed, and we'll have a little bit with it before we turn back over to them. Anyways, thank you for watching. I know it's kind of a long video, but I appreciate you going through this with me, and I hope you have an amazing day.